Is it true that Jimin felt left out? Why did Jungkook cry so hard in Taehyung's arms? Does this moment indicate internal tension among BTS members? These questions are now dominating discussion spaces among fans and South Korean entertainment industry observers. What should have been a proud day for Jungkook instead turned into an emotional stage that left many confused. Amidst the celebration of the youngest member's return from military service, the public was presented with a scene they never anticipated. Jungkook sobbing uncontrollably, tightly embraced by Taehyung, while Jimin stood silently in the distance with an unreadable expression. This incident was not planned, nor was it announced in advance. Yet the impact was profound and shook many. The crowd of media, fans, even on-site staff appeared frozen when Taehyung stepped forward, quietly, without protocol, towards Jungkook, who had just completed his service to the nation. No music, no script. Just a long hug wrapped in tears and raw emotions that could not be hidden. What really happened? Those silent seconds then turned into a storm of interpretations. Why did Taehyung suddenly appear? Why was he the only one who made Jungkook cry so deeply, as if releasing a burden carried for years? And even more intriguing, where did Jimin stand in all of this? It's no secret that Jimin and Jungkook share a deep emotional bond. They've shared stages, laughter, and life journeys within the family known as BTS. However, during this crucial moment that was supposed to unify them, Taehyung's presence seemed to dominate the atmosphere. Not just because of the extended hug with Jungkook, but also because of Jimin's silent reaction, as if showing alienation or shock. Did Jimin feel excluded? Or is there something bigger going on? Unnamed sources suggest that the dynamics among BTS members have shifted significantly during their mandatory military service. Separated schedules, limited communication, and anxiety about the group's future made emotional distance hard to avoid. Some even claim that the moment was a turning point, a long-held confession, a promise finally fulfilled, or perhaps a long-awaited forgiveness. In fan-recorded videos, Taehyung can be seen whispering something to Jungkook. Some lip-reading fans claimed the words were, "I'm here now. I won't leave again." A simple sentence, yet deeply meaningful, as if answering a question never asked out loud, but always lingering in Jungkook's heart. Even more shocking was Jungkook's response, barely audible but caught by a fan's audio device. "Why now?" he whispered, softly yet devastating. That line suggested a complicated history. There was a pause. There was pain. There was time that could never be returned. And most painful of all, there was a sense of abandonment. Jimin's presence, merely observing from a few meters away, added an emotional layer that could not be ignored. There was no direct interaction between Jimin and Taehyung at that moment. In fact, some eyewitnesses claimed they saw Jimin turn his face away right after the hug. Was that a sign of awkwardness or jealousy? We certainly can't jump to conclusions, but the fact that Jimin didn't participate in the emotional embrace raises unavoidable questions. Is there a new dynamic within their friendship? Are BTS members undergoing a transition the public is unaware of? Some Korean pop culture analysts see this moment as a signal that BTS is rearranging its emotional foundation. According to them, emotional outbursts like this can't be staged. They reflect psychological burdens, the pressure of expectations, and perhaps regret. The pressure to remain perfect in the public eye has long been a silent weight carried by K-pop idols, and for Jungkook, that moment might have marked the limit of his ability to hold it all. It's worth noting that the interactions between Jungkook and Taehyung have long been dynamic. They were once seen as very close but had visibly drifted apart in recent years. Meanwhile, Jimin has consistently remained by Jungkook's side on many occasions, both personally and professionally. The fact that Taehyung could break through Jungkook's emotional wall with one hug, while Jimin could only watch from afar, is a sharp irony. Does this signal a shift in emotional alliances within the group? Or is it simply a long-held emotional outpouring between two old friends separated by time? ARMY's reactions were divided. Some voiced sympathy for Jungkook and appreciated Taehyung's presence as emotional support. But many also questioned the lack of interaction between Jimin and the other two during this crucial moment. Social media discussions grew more intense, with various theories emerging, from suspected internal conflict, trust issues, to the possibility of emotional exchanges hidden from the public. One thing is certain: that moment didn't just happen randomly. It's impossible that Taehyung showed up without reason. It's impossible that Jungkook cried without cause. And it's impossible that Jimin stood silent if there wasn't something troubling him. The public, especially BTS's loyal fans, has the right to ask questions. Not for gossip, but to understand the emotions that are now part of the narrative of the world's biggest idol group. Behind stage smiles and touching songs, BTS members are human. They cry, they hurt, and they may have felt disappointed in each other. Jungkook cried not because he's weak, but because he held it in for too long. Taehyung hugged not to be dramatic, but because he knows time can't be rewound. And Jimin, perhaps he's searching for his place between two overwhelming emotions that weren't his. Whatever happened that day, one thing is now certain. BTS is no longer the same. And maybe that's not a bad thing that we've watched, read, and maybe even cried along when the news of Jungkook sobbing and Taehyung's embrace spread online. But behind this viral emotional moment, let's pause and ask a fundamental question. Did this really happen? Was this touching, dramatic moment truly the result of a sincere interaction between two longtime friends? Or was it just an emotionally crafted narrative designed to generate buzz during BTS's activity hiatus? The public, especially ARMY, has the right to know, but also the responsibility to think. Don't rush to believe. Don't get swept up just because of a TikTok video showing tears or a Twitter snippet quoting, "I'm here now." Without concrete evidence, how sure are we that this moment truly happened? Is there clear visual documentation? Who is the original source? And why did such a significant moment first emerge from unofficial platforms like TikTok or anonymous fan uploads? Are these emotions genuine or carefully structured? This question isn't meant to ruin the heartfelt atmosphere fans feel, but rather to invite us all to be more critical in responding to information, especially in a digital ecosystem now dominated by the speed of virality rather than the accuracy of facts. When a story spreads widely, we need to ask, who benefits from it? Is there a commercial motive? Is this part of a subtle communication strategy leading to the group's comeback? Or is it simply a reflection of fans' collective longing for BTS member interactions? In an era where the line between reality and content is increasingly blurred, distinguishing real events from crafted emotional narratives becomes a challenging task. Let's revisit the sources behind this article. Most originate from social media like TikTok, YouTube fan cams, and long Twitter threads. There's no documentation explicitly verified by a credible third party. So, is it right for us to fully believe in it? Perhaps behind the tears lies another reality: the pressure to appear strong again in public after a grueling military service. Maybe this isn't just about Taehyung or Jimin, but about the collective burden of an idol expected to return as the best version of himself. Yet again, without official footage, without confirmation from trusted sources, the question will linger. Was that hug real? Were those tears truly shed? Furthermore, if that moment did happen, we also have to ask, is it right for the public to turn it into a commodity? Have we, as consumers of information, crossed a privacy line that we should have respected? Are we turning someone's emotional trauma into collective entertainment? This reflection is important, especially for ARMY, known as one of the most organized and educated fandoms. Emotional support is not enough. We also need support in the form of understanding, healthy skepticism, and a clear separation between fact and speculation. When a BTS member cries, we must not only ask why, but also who told this story and for what purpose. Let's ask a few more questions. Was the moment captured by major Korean media? Is there independent confirmation from on-site staff who witnessed the event? If it did happen, why did the agency choose total silence without any accompanying narrative? And if it didn't, who crafted such a well-written and emotionally gripping story? Speculation is the fuel of social media, and the entertainment industry knows its power well. In the absence of full group activities, any interaction between members can go viral simply because fans are hungry for news. But in our hunger for updates, let's not lose the wisdom to distinguish between reality and manipulated narrative. We must acknowledge that even this article is not free from limitations. The information presented comes from scattered bits, some from fans, others from alternative media, and none can be regarded as final proof. Therefore, we do not claim that this story is entirely true. What we do is present a narrative that